We can start, Prasanna.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon and welcome to today's session on cost-effective alternatives to 0365 and Google Workspace by Mr. Vishal Shah. I am Prasanna, co-host of the event today. Let me introduce today's presenter, Mr. Vishal Shah, CEO and co-founder of Cinesoft Technologies. He has over 18 years of experience and expertise of IT industry. He is known as seasoned technology stalwart, an inventor of specific patented technologies, a writer, a serial entrepreneur, an investor, and most importantly, a go-to guy for MSMEs. We also have Mr. Sudhir Chaube, co-founder of Cinesoft in the panel. He looks after the commercial aspect of our organization. In today's session, Vishal sir will explain simple, affordable, and practical alternative setup for MSMEs to take their business on cloud for multi-location data access, secured mailbox, enterprise policies on remote users, cloud storage, cloud backup, application hosting, and DLP. If you have any questions while you watch this demonstration, kindly write in the question and answer tab in the bottom of your Zoom login. The panel will take up the question at the end of the session. Alternatively, in case you want to ask any question in the end of the session, you may please raise your hand and we shall activate your microphone to ask the question. Vishal sir, can you please take it ahead from here?
Good afternoon all, and thank you for your attendance to this webinar. I have noticed one thing, that we always have very good webinar attendance when we write a word cost effective in the title. So this time it is cost effective alternatives to O365 and Google Workspace. So we are seeing so much of the attendance. Thank you so much for your interest, and we will try to live up to your expectations. So let me narrate, a brief background about how we came up with the idea of having this webinar, which is alternatives of Google Workspace and MS365 for MSMEs. In recent 6 months, Google and Microsoft have gone round on increasing their price, and that is even versioned by the dollar price movements, and that has made this cloud services very expensive. And as we all know that these cloud services are recurring cost, so these are the recurring costs which are increasing and they are increasing for the future also. So it is definitely affecting the profitability of MSMEs. And that is the reason we thought that we need to have this kind of webinar where we tell the enterprise owners, IT strategists to make sure that it is not the only alternative. There are alternatives, and these alternatives can be useful, effective, and of course affordable. And that is the reason we thought of having a webinar on this particular topic. So in today's webinar, we are going to understand the deliverables of MS365 and Google Workspace. We will understand the benefits of each deliverable in their services, and of course the cost associated with that. And then we will try to find out the alternatives and their costs, which can suffice the same requirements. At the same time, they are affordable. So first, we will check on the features of MS365. Then we will check the features of Google Workspace. We will see how these features are priced in different slabs. And then we will try to find out the alternatives to basically get the same features in more cost-effective way. And then we have prepared one computer system which is loaded with all these alternatives, and we will demonstrate that computer system, that this is how one can this is how one can install all those alternatives and serve the same purpose in more affordable and simpler way. So this is how we have planned today's session. Now, first of all, we will see the deliverables and versions of MS365. And before that, I would like to request Prasanna to run the poll to understand the profile of the attendees and their expectations from this particular webinar. So I request all of you to please go through this poll. There are two questions. One is, I am attending this webinar as, and then you can tell us about yourself. And second is, what brings you to this webinar? What is the reason you are attending this webinar? What are your expectations from this webinar? And that will help me a lot to drive this session in more interesting way. So as we see the result on the screen, we can see that 33% of the attendees are business owners, 63% of the attendees are IT professionals, 7% are cloud service resellers, and there is no cloud infrastructure architect in the audience. I will limit my content to on the technicalities. So we will discuss more in layman language. Then what brings you to this webinar? 59% of the people are concerned about increasing cost of Google and Microsoft. 19% of the people, believe that they need cloud, but they're worried about the data leakage. And 7%, because cloud services with data leakage prevention is too complex and expensive, and they would like to explore the alternatives. And 30% are attending it for all these reasons. Yeah, so we are setting the context now, and now let us focus first on MS365, and then we will see its features, what cost it is available, so that we can be more clear on what the alternatives we are exploring has to deliver. So the first offer, first thing, when you subscribe to very basic version of Microsoft O365, you get 1 terabyte of cloud storage for individual users. You cannot share this among the users. One user is getting 1 terabyte. So if you have 25 users, you are getting 25 terabyte, but one user cannot use more than 1 terabyte. This is something which I disagree, because as an organization, we have so many shared folders which could go beyond 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 5 terabyte, and users work on those folders, which could be projects on them, and they collaborate also. But in this case, in this version of O365, it is 1 terabyte strictly for an individual user. Then it gives web version of Office, means you have to be always online when you want to use this particular Office. Then MS Teams without webinar. So you can use MS Teams for your virtual meetings only, not for webinars. Then web version of Outlook. One can access the Outlook on web. He cannot access offline in this particular version. Then 50 GB of the mailbox for an individual user. And we get 1 terabyte per organization as a SharePoint server storage. Let me explain what SharePoint server storage is. So let's say you have a folder which is shared by so many users, and in that particular folder there are so many subfolders, files, and you want to make sure that out of that particular folder there are 5 subfolders, and those 5 subfolders should be shared with different group of users, or certain files should be shared for certain group of users, or the rights on those files in terms of read write should be given to specific users. So that is basically the purpose of SharePoint file server. And this particular package gives 1 terabyte of the storage space on the cloud, which can be used as a file server. It cannot be expanded. So 1 terabyte per user people get, and 1 terabyte for the collaborative work. And that costs approximately 125 Indian rupees per month per user. So when we pay around 1600 to 1800 rupees, we are getting 1 terabyte of cloud storage and web version of Office, Outlook, 50 GB of mailbox, and 1 terabyte of the collaborative space. Most of the organizations who have grown beyond 10 users would not be satisfied with this particular offering, because they would require larger space, not on per user basis, but they would require larger space on per department or per group basis, as well as they will require desktop edition of MS Office and MS Outlook, because they do not expect their users to be online all the time. So this is something which may not be sufficient for them. So they would like to add up few more features, and we will see what those features could be. So it could be desktop version of Office. It could be MS Teams with webinars. Sometimes we organize webinars also. And then it could be desktop version of Outlook, so that users can work on their emails offline. And that would cost them 660 rupees per user per month. So here, by doing this, we are getting a 50 GB mailbox, 1 terabyte of individual storage, 1 terabyte of collaborative storage, and we are getting desktop versions of MS Office. We are getting desktop version of Outlook, so that users can work on their Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and emails offline. And of course, they give MS Teams with webinar in this version. And they call it as business standard version. Then for a slightly larger organization, let's say one organization has grown beyond 25 users, they will require an antivirus. They will require email archival also, because 50 GB mailbox may not be enough for all the users individually. They require Microsoft's Active Directory kind of policy servers, where applications can be controlled. So they can control the user's computer system so that they can use specific applications only. Then it has to be device-based access control on the cloud. Maybe when the organization grows, its data security, data protection, data leakage prevention policies are more complex, and they require device-based access on the cloud. Most of the organizations require. Then data access control. As I've explained, there has to be a file server on which data access controls have to be established. Then organizations also require endpoint controls in terms of pen drive control, in terms of DLP, data leakage prevention on email, internet, such solutions. Then it also requires, then the data can be accessed only on iOS also, as well as Android device controls also, and they require the control on iOS and Android device also. And in case it is expected to be delivered from Microsoft, all these things means 1 terabyte of cloud storage, desktop version of Office, desktop version of Outlook, then all the policies, then they charge 1,585 INR per user per month. These costs are downloaded from Microsoft's website. So when an organization grows beyond 25 users, it requires a lot of things. It requires to control their users, how they access their data. It requires to control the application environment in users computer, how they use those applications. So let's say if I am supposed to use Word, Excel, PowerPoint and Tally, then I should not be able to access anything else. So all these kind of restrictions or policies are required when the enterprise grows beyond 25 users and they require everything. So in this case, when they require all these features, Microsoft charges right now 1,585 INR per user per month, and it has a trend of increasing the price 10 to 15%, almost 10 to 15% every year. So that is something which has to be expected. So for a 25 user organization, that would be approximately 4 to 5 lakhs of rupees per year, which is expensive, and we will find out the alternatives, how we can make this 4 to 5 lakhs per year to maybe 1 lakh rupees per year. We will see that. So this is about Microsoft. Before we move to Google part, I would like to understand the sync between what I have presented and what are your expectations. I would like to request Prasanna to run the poll. Yeah, Prasanna, please. So as we see the results, 90% of the attendees desire desktop version of the MS Office. They need it. 80% require desktop version of Outlook. 67% requires file server and SharePoint server. 60% requires 5 GB mailbox. 63% requires email archival. 50% requires Defender antivirus. 50% require domain policies. 37% require endpoint controls. 47% requires Team, and 37% require iOS and Android device. So approximately, I would judge that, I may be wrong, but approximately we are having 50% of the people who are looking at a more matured IT standardization, where they require something, so many things beyond just some cloud storage and an email system. They require so many things so that they can standardize their IT, they can enforce their IT policy on the users, and they can make sure that, that IT is absolutely compliant with the principles of IT security and IT infrastructure efficiencies. So this is what we get. So I would say 50% of the attendees would require to subscribe for 1,585 INR per user per month if they choose Microsoft to provide all these services. And I would say 90% of the attendees would require to choose 660 INR PUPM, because 90% of the people required MS Office desktop edition. So it is not available in 125 rupees subscription. It is available in 660 rupees subscription. So 90% of the audience would be required to spend 8,000 plus rupees per user per year. And maybe 50% would be required to pay 20,000 rupees per user per year. We will find out an alternative that actually strengthens the purpose of this particular webinar. how we can save cost, and if we can save cost, I think we have done a good job. Now let us look at the same for Google. So deliverables and versions of Google has more simpler offering. So when we go for a Google's very basic package, which is, I think, business starter, they give 30 GB of the cloud storage. They give Google Meet. They give doc, sheet, and slides, means Google's version of MS Office. They give the device-based access to the cloud. They have two-factor authentication, and they charge 210 rupees per month per user. Now, this is, of course, giving you only a kind of mailbox, 30 GB. If it is shared between your emails as well as your cloud data, it is insufficient. So this particular subscription package is just giving us some sort of document spreadsheets. And again, Google has web-based one, so you have to be online when you want to use this Google Sheets and all that. Now, if our requirement is not satisfied, there is another package where Google gives 2 terabyte of cloud storage per user. And interesting thing is that here Google gives sharing option also. So we can share this 2 terabyte among the users. Of course, it does not give entire file server package. You have to have a third party solution for file server. But yes, you have raw cloud storage, which can be used for your emails and which can be used for your data. Policies and all that are not possible in this particular package. And that costs 840 INR per month per user. Third package is basically giving you 5 terabyte of cloud storage. So as you keep on upgrading Google's subscriptions, you get more and more space, or more and more space. And in case you want that, no, I want enterprise grade security and I want enterprise grade policies, then you need to upgrade further. So this 5 terabyte is approximately 1585 INR per month, 1585 INR per month, I think. And in case we want to have all these things, application control, data access control, endpoint controls, iOS controls, then Google requires you to be more than 250 users. Below 250 users, Google does not provide all these facilities. So even if you are ready to pay so much, it will not give you this service, and you might have to integrate whatever plan you choose with Google. You might have to integrate it with some third-party tools so that you get a domain controller on web, you get endpoint controller, you get DLP, all that. But that is only available about 250 users. Below 250 users, it is not possible. And the cost is not mentioned because most of us are MSMEs who are attending this webinar. So this is about Google, which does not serve the full purpose, but yes, Google has its own advantages. We have kept it as one of the options in this comparison. So before we move to the actual alternative part and how we save the cost and I explain those concepts, let us go through a poll so that I align myself with your understanding till this time in this session. sorry, I was on mute. So when we check the results of the poll, 77% would require Google Docs, Sheets, or MS Office, of course. 70% requires Google interface, 73% requires Google Drives or any cloud drive. 67% would require 30 GB for most of the users. 50% of the would require 2 terabyte for few users. Again, in Google, they have a policy that if you upgrade a single user to 2 terabyte, you have to upgrade all the users to 2 terabyte. And that's the reason we have asked the question with most users and few users kind of perspective. Then antivirus, of course, is required by 27%. IT policy is required by 40%. DLP and endpoint 33%, Google Meet 57%, and iOS and device control 23%. So if we look at this particular poll, I would say 90% of the people will require the first version of the Google and second version of the Google, and maybe there are many other requirements which are not fulfilled by Google for a smaller organization. You have to be more than 250 users for that. So of course, in Google, either you are paying this 840 rupees per month per user or 1585 rupees per month per user, whatever it is, you might be paying the same. So basically, our cost zeroes down anywhere between 7 to 8,000 rupees per user per annum to maybe 20,000 rupees per user per annum if we want all these things to be with us. And I think we require all these things as an MSME. We may not be very large enterprise like 1,000 users, 2,000 users, 3,000 users, but our data security and data protection needs are same as that of a large enterprise. We sign non-disclosure agreements. We have our own IPRs. Our data is so sensitive and confidential, which can be competitively exploited. So we would like to save that data. So we would like to have best provisions for the data security. So either you buy Google service or Microsoft service, you will have to buy it with all those application controls, data access controls, endpoint controls, everything. For Microsoft, it offers everything in its highest offering. For Google, if you are less than 250 users, you can go for its highest one, which is 1585 or 840, and then you have to apply third-party solutions. So these are the two things. Now we go back to our next part, which is the agenda of the webinar, where we want to find out what are the affordable and simple solutions. Okay, affordable and simple alternative systems. So now how we'll approach it, we will go in two parts. One, I will explain the concept of these alternative systems. And then we have prepared one computer system on which we can see all these things happening using alternative systems. So I will start with that. So, and in this alternative system, we will also try to define our requirements so that the limitations which we have observed in Microsoft or Google are also taken care of. Means we are now looking at an alternative which not only saves the cost, makes it simpler, but we want to have a system which overcomes those limitations. Like as I've told, in Microsoft, you have 1 terabyte of the storage across all entire enterprise to share for SharePoint, and then you have to pay for further if you want larger space. So we want to make sure that we have those limitations also overcome. So the first thing which we should be having is enterprise-wide cloud storage. We should not have per user kind of cloud storage because most of us work on drawings, designs, and a lot of work happens on a common shared folder in a department. So many users with different rights share those folders. So let us have a vision that instead of having one per user per kind of storage, we have full enterprise-wide storage, and users have different blocks, accordingly. So 4 terabyte to 96 terabyte of collective storage for all the users. This is the first thing, which will overcome those limitations. Then we should have organization-wide file server on cloud. And we want to make it so secured. So we want to make it on VPN so that it is secured. So right now we are defining our requirements in terms of security, in terms of convenience, in terms of overcoming those limitations posed in Google or Microsoft. And then we will find out the alternatives which meet these requirements. And then we will see those configured, and then we will feel it. So one, we have first large storage space. Then we have organization-wide file storage server, where we can define permissions on the folders, files. We can have different groups of users or departments have different rights on different folders. So that is another requirement. Then we have Office 365 Home or WPS Office. Now let me come to this. If you want Word, Excel, PowerPoint type of applications, you don't need to buy O365 kind of per user per year kind of subscription. A very good alternative to that is WPS Office. You can check that on the website. That is a WPS Office. And in that WPS Office, you have a very good Word processor, very good Excel, and very good PowerPoint in that. And you can very well use that. You can interchange with MS Office files also. So we have got very good experience using WPS Office. In case you don't want to use any alternative and you want to use MS Office only, and you want to get desktop version of MS Office, again, you don't need to subscribe to that 660 rupees per user per month. There is a product which is very less talked about by Microsoft resellers. And that particular product is Microsoft Office O365 on cloud, the home version, which costs 6,000 rupees per year, and it can be shared among 6 devices. So when you purchase that and want to share among 6 users, it may not sound logical to you because you don't want one user's data to be visible to another user. We are an enterprise, we cannot allow that. But when you don't use the shared folders or SharePoint server or OneDrive of Microsoft, you can very well do it just for the licensing purpose. So you can buy O365 Home Edition, pay 6,000 rupees, install it on 6 devices, activate that license using those credentials, and people can use desktop edition of MS Office without any problems. And anyway, they are not going to use OneDrive or anything else. So they are anyway not going to use OneDrive, so that the data will not be mixed between the users. They'll be using this 4 terabyte to 96 terabyte kind of collective storage with an alternative file server, and they'll be using desktop applications of MS Office. In case you don't want to spend 6,000 rupees per year across 6 users, which is just less than 100 rupees per user per month, you don't have to pay 660 rupees per user per month. You can do it in just 100 rupees per user per month, and you can use all prowess of MS Office, and you can also use WPS Office in case, and that will save your all money. Then another concept is about email. So now you have entire 4 terabyte of storage space. You have a file server, so you have very good permission engine for your users. Then you have some desktop application on every user's computer system, which is O365 Home or WPS Office. You can then see this. See, now it is a very, very good concept, DNS splitted mailbox with no limit on mailbox. I'll tell you how. Let's say you have 50 users, and out of 50 users, you require large mailbox across only 5 to 6 users. Rest of the users do not have, most of the times in MSMEs, 80% of the users do not have very intense use of email system. Maybe the owners or top management team requires large mailbox, anywhere access of mailbox, everything. But the rest of the users are using their email system either while they are in the office or on their mobile phone while they are out of office. Nothing else, nothing. They don't use very large mailboxes. So here there is a concept of DNS splitted mailbox, and I'm going to explain that. See what happens. Let's say if you have 50 users and you require only 4 to 5 users to be those large mailbox on Google or on Microsoft, whatever. It would be 2 terabyte on Google and it would be 50 GB on Microsoft. And now you want the rest of the users, they don't need this much of mailbox also. But then most of the advisors will tell you that you have only one domain for your email, @ let's say sinnershop.in or whatever, so that you have to keep your email system only on one infrastructure. And let's say if Google or Microsoft has a policy that all your users have to be in single plan, then for all those other users, you have to upgrade the plan, and you are not going to use those additional features available in those plans because those users do not have any such usage requirement. So let's say I'll give you an idea. This is a very interesting concept, and I request all of you to pay attention to it. I will just share my whiteboard and share that. Stopping my screen. I hope you are able to see my whiteboard, right?
Yes, sir. Whiteboard is visible.
Yeah. So now let's say you have 50 users. And let's say out of those 50 users, 10 users are extensive email users and 40 users are not extensive email users. Now, for these 10 users, you are ready to pay maybe 10,000 rupees per year or 2,500 rupees per year or 5,000 rupees per year because they are extensive email users. But because you upgrade these users to those advanced level of services, you have to forcefully get upgraded these 40 users also, for which you are paying 10,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees or 2,500 rupees per user, which is not going to be yielding anything to you. So there is a concept of DNS splitting. So now the domain is same. Let's say sinnershop.in. It could be your organization's domain. Here, what you can do is you can create 10 email boxes with all that. These are the 10 email boxes, 1, 2, 3, up to 10. And then you can create one email box as a catch-all account. Now, all the emails coming to these total 50 users will be accepted by your O365 or Microsoft email hosting or Google email hosting service. If those emails are belonging to these 10 users, they will be placed in their mailboxes. And if it is belonging to these 40 users, it will land in this particular catch-all account. Then you have DNS splitting technology, which downloads the emails from this catch-all account, which contains the emails of all 40 users, and then make their mailboxes, 40 mailboxes, on some other server on the cloud. And these users, these 40 users, connect to these 40 mailboxes and get their emails. So what you are doing is you have paid full amount for 10 users. You have paid one more user's account instead of 40 users. You have paid one more account to Microsoft or Google. And then you are paying petty, less, very less to this particular service provider who has a DNS splitting technology, who downloads all these emails, parses the header of the email, and then places those emails in different mailboxes. And those mailboxes can be accessed by your other 40 users, either over webmail or over Outlook or Thunderbird, and they can do it. So you have ended up, instead of paying, let's say 10,000 rupees for all 50 users, you ended up paying 10 users 10,000 rupees, one user 10,000 rupees, and maybe 400, 500 rupees per user per year. I'm saying 500 rupees per user per year, less than 30, 40 rupees per month for all these 40 users. So this is called DNS splitting technology. And that is, I wanted to explain, that is an alternative, and it can be used very, very effectively. Now we'll go back to our presentation. So having explained this DNS splitting technology, then we might require a good antivirus. We can go for McAfee kind of antivirus, which is available at 400 rupees per user per year, which is less than 30 rupees per user per year. Then instead of using desktop version of Outlook, we can use Thunderbird. It is equally good and it is open source. Then we can have email backup technologies where our emails can be backed up from that DNS splitter and we don't lose any emails. Then we can have application controls through device hardening. See, Active Directory is not the only means of hardening your devices or enforcing your organization's policy. There are technologies of alternative technologies of device hardening, which hardens every computer system so that users' computer system environment in terms of application is controlled, users' pen drives and everything is controlled, users' internet access is controlled. So you can alternatively, you can identify device hardening instead of paying so much for Azure on cloud or Azure on AD kind of. Then instead of using Meet or Meet Microsoft Teams, you can use Zoom, paid version of Zoom with webinar, which is very cost effective. Then you can have device-based access to the cloud. You can have VPN implemented, as I have explained. Then you can have data access control. Again, you don't need Microsoft Active Directory for data access controls. You can do it with good file server. You can also have endpoint controls and DLP as a part of your device hardening technology. We will see in the demonstration. And then you can also have iOS and Android device controls alternatives. So this is something, if we are able to implement all these things, like if we are able to get this 4 TB to 96 TB as per our requirement, we place a file server on that so that we have user-wise controls. Then we buy MS365 as a home edition and divide it among 6 users or share it among 6 users or WPS Office. Then if we use email system with DNS split technology, we can save a lot of money per month per user. Then we can deploy some antivirus. We can use Thunderbird to save the cost of Outlook. We can use email backup systems, which are cost effective. We will see that in the demonstration. Then we can use device hardening for application controls, data access controls, device-based access to the cloud. Then we can use device hardening for endpoint controls also. And this is how we can make sure that we can bring down the cost of all this from 250 rupees to 500 rupees per user per month. We were talking about 1500 rupees or 1585 rupees per user per month. Here we can bring it down to 250 to 500 rupees per user per month, and we will see it happening. So now, first of all, we will see the file server. So I request my technical team to show us a file server. So we have created this alternative system using our product called BLACKbox One Cloud. Just a moment. BLACKbox One Cloud, in which all these things are implemented, and it is delivered to the customer as one agent and one cloud service. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to look for DNS splitter. They don't have to look for file server. They don't have to look for cloud storage. They don't have to look for device hardening or endpoint control. Everything is inbuilt, and we have configured this particular computer systems so that you have a vision that you can achieve all these things in 250 rupees to 500 rupees per user per month instead of spending so much. All these alternatives are integrated and they work fine. So first of all, we will see something which is equivalent to SharePoint server, file server, where we want to have folders and access to the users. So this is how we can log on to that. Once we log on, we will get entire cloud storage space, all whatever. If you have taken 4 terabyte, 8 terabyte, 72 terabyte, whatever, it is here. And all folders you can create users groups, you can define the permissions on the users. So let's say all these folders are created and you can have permissions on. Can you show the something on permission, please? It is so user friendly. So you can create the permission, assign it to the user, everything. This is an admin level function. And this is how you can make sure that your users have a shared cloud storage where they can share the data with each user. And there is no limit like 1 terabyte of the SharePoint server as it is there in the initial packages of Microsoft. So this is the first thing. What we have seen is the file server on cloud without any cost. Of course, the total cost is going to be 250 rupees to 500 rupees as per the requirements and what we actually add up to. So this is about the file server. Now we will log on to a user system and access this particular cloud storage. So can we log on to one laptop, please? So now we are taking the remote connection of a laptop. So this is a laptop, which is for which remote connection is already taken. We'll see an agent is installed so that device hardening and everything happens. So this agent is also installed. Now let us see the PC part of it. So this laptop is installed with this particular system, and this laptop has some local folders in which he can work. Now let's say he wants to connect to the cloud folders. And let's say to this particular user, we have assigned 7-8 folders from the cloud along with other users as per their job profile. So we'll see how they connect. So these are all local folders on which user can work when he is offline. This particular laptop can be loaded with MS Office 365 Home or WPS Office. So he can use all that in dock and everything. Now just connect to the VPN. This is VPN on cloud. There are so many VPN solutions on cloud. So we can click on VPN. We are not able to see your screen. I think your screen is refreshing very slow. Can you just log off and log in so that it is faster? This laptop, yeah, connect the VPN. So when we connect the VPN, whatever file storage, file sharing we had seen, that would be loaded over here with all the rights given to this particular user. So now your user is able to work on that particular file server as per the permissions given to him, along with all hardening. Yeah, we'll just wait. I think they have some issue in connecting this laptop. So all these cloud drives are loaded, you see here. So all these cloud drives are loaded. So user can work on his local drive as well as user can work on his cloud drives. And remember, these cloud drives are the only the folders which are allocated to this particular user. If there is some other user who is allocated some other folders, then only those folders will be opened in his VPN connectivity. So this is how you can make sure that users have an enterprise experience on their data access controls. So this is the one thing where we have a space, maybe whatever 4 terabyte to 24 terabyte shared by all the users. Then we can have a file server permission engine. And then according to that permission engine, the user is able to see this all, use this all data. So this is about the cloud part of it. Now we will look at the email part. So these users can basically access the emails either using Thunderbird. Can you open the Thunderbird, please? Now these are DNS splitted users. Okay, as I've explained, one catch-all account, then split. So here it is a Thunderbird, and users can access the mails through Thunderbird. In case user is traveling and he wants to access the emails through webmail, he can also access it through webmail. Can we show the webmail, please? But this webmail will not be of Google. So that is, as I have explained, 10 users will have of Google or of Microsoft interface. Rest of the 40 users will have this interface. But this is also a good interface and you are saving a lot of money. And these users are not having very advanced level of requirement. So this is something where this is the interface, web-based interface. Okay, so this is about the email system. Then we will see the device hardening system, how we can harden the device to respect the enterprise's policy without implementing Active Directory or AD on Azure and paying a lot of money for that. So can we log on to the policy server, please? Console server. So we log on to a policy server. This policy server is device hardening server. We are using BLACKbox device hardening server for the demo purpose. You can use anything else also. So go to this desktop device hardening part. So here, just take one account manager or account for some user, please. Just take account manager. Edit. So here you see that this particular user is member of departments like account, finance, GST. And when we logged in, after we connected to the cloud through VPN, all these departments shared folders started appearing and they were like this. So this Y drive, so this is on cloud. Now we have also configured the VPN part here. We can also configure which particular computer system this user will have access to, which is here. I can, if I want that this user is accessing right now with this account's PC, now I want him to access from 2 more computers, I can just click here and it's an admin function. We can also give the rights. So application rights. So let's say if we click there, we can define whether he will be able to use Google Chrome or not, or he is going to use Tele or not. So all these rights can also be defined. Can we go to the pen drive part? We can also define whether he can access the pen drives or not. So allow or block, we can control everything over here. It is about endpoint control. We can also define the, in case we want to have vigilance on his email system, or we want him to be subject to DLP on his email system, we can also go to the email part of it, and we can define n number of DLP policies on this particular email. Whether this user can send emails outside or not, when he sends email, what kind of parties he can send to, whether these emails will be moderated or not, whether he can send BCC or not, what attachments he can send. So all these DLP can also be done. This is device hardening basically. So once we implement device hardening, we don't need to implement Active Directory and all these things. Then we can also control what internet this particular user can access. So here we can have control on the internet part also. So let's say if this account manager is supposed to access only these websites like HDFC, Government of India, whatever. We can have allow list, we can have deny list, everything it can be possible. And this is how we harden the user's system such that he can do whatever he's supposed to do only. So yeah, I think I would like to get back the screen for myself. So if we see here, we have seen 4 terabyte to 96 terabyte, whatever it is as a cloud storage. We have seen the file server. We have already discussed about Office 365, DNS splitted technology, as I've explained and demonstrated also to you how it looks. So 4-5 users can access Microsoft or Google interface. Rest of the people can use either Thunderbird or this particular interface on their mobile or whatever. Then you can have McAfee, Thunderbird. This particular thing can also be used. This space can also be used for email backup. You don't need extra archival space for email backup. No, you can use the same storage, cloud storage. Then application controls for device hardening. Then device-based access, we have seen which computers he can access. Then data access control, we have seen how files and folders can be given. We have seen endpoint controls by seeing that pen drive control. We have seen the DLP policies on email, internet, USB. And of course, you can have the same thing implemented on your iOS and Android device also. You can also subscribe to Zoom. So all these things together will not cost you more than 250 to 500 rupees. And you don't have to actually go to all these services separately and assemble them or integrate them. BLACKbox One Cloud, which I have demonstrated, is actually combination of all these things, and you can define that I need this, and then accordingly your charges would be between 250 rupees to 500 rupees per user per month, which is going to make extraordinary cost saving. So this is all about today's alternatives, and this is all about today's webinar. I would request Prasanna to launch the last poll, and meanwhile I will go through the questions and answers and I will answer them. Please type your questions and answers in Q&A instead of chat. So by the time you are answering the poll, I am looking at the questions. Yeah, Mr. Vora, I have Nirav Vora have asked that, sir, I have one query. We feel that the mailbox of 50 GB size as on date is very low. Is there any alternative to increase the size? You are absolutely right. Microsoft in its highest offering also does not give more than 50 GB, and it is insufficient indeed. So as I have explained to you, in DNS splitter technology, you can use this 4 terabyte to 96 terabyte collective cloud space for your email box also. So that is where there is no limit on your email box. Sorry. So people are answering the poll. By the time they answer, let me go through next question. Mr. Manan Dalal is asking, is it only for MSME or large enterprise also? This is meant for an MSME. It can be used for large enterprise also. Current BLACKbox Cloud is for up to 300 users. Yeah, so now we have got poll results. I think what is the ideal cloud service? So let me read it out. 74% of the people thought that idea of enterprise-wide cloud was more more of overcoming the limitations of Microsoft and Google Workspace. Mandatory VPN connection, 44% liked it. 52% liked the idea of basically they found this useful, MS365 Home or WPS Office. 52% found the idea useful of DNS splitter. 37% like the idea of device hardening. 41% like the idea of using Zoom. 37% like the idea of single agent DLP. 56% found the idea useful of using total cloud space for emails or whatever. There should not be any limitation. Then 63% like the idea of cost effectiveness of black box cloud. So now coming to the questions. Yeah, yes, Mr. Dalal, it can be extended up to 300 users. Then Mr. Yeah, Mistry, he has taken the leave. Yeah. Mr. Shah, can Office 365 Home is acceptable in business environment? See, now there is nothing like business environment or personal environment after COVID. And most of the laptops now we purchase, which are loaded with Windows 10 or 11 Pro, are also loaded with Office 365 Home. So as long as you don't want to use it as an enterprise environment, you can very well use it. And how you will not want to use it as an enterprise environment? By not using OneDrive to save the data or store the data. If you use Office 365 Home and share it among 6 users, you should not use OneDrive for sharing the data, because otherwise all those 6 users can check their data. There is no privacy. So as long as you are not using OneDrive for storing your data, you can use Office 365 Home and share it among 6 users, and it is legitimately allowed by Microsoft. Then we have a question from Mr. Karthik Iyer. We are already using BLACKbox system. Will this cloud system need new hardware or will be an add-on? How exactly it works? Yeah, it's a very good question. See, BLACKbox is deployed in 2 different ways. One is on-premise, which Mr. Iyer you are using. It is an on-premise BLACKbox. So that particular on-premise BLACKbox is a CapEx. You have already done the CapEx. You have got your BLACKbox installed in your premise, and that particular BLACKbox is your private cloud. Actually, it is your private cloud when you use that BLACKbox on VPN and static IP. So it is actually your private cloud. This BLACKbox One Cloud is an alternative to on-premise. So in case any enterprise which does not want to have a CapEx on its IT systems and they want to have an OpEx, they want per user per month kind of subscription, and they don't want to invest in the hardware, then they can go for BLACKbox One Cloud. But this entire storage is on cloud. Mr. Iyer, this particular storage which you are using is actually in your premise. So it actually complies much more on data privacy and data security. Yeah, then are your product is with default DLP? Yes, BLACKbox One Cloud is with everything. DLP is also part of it. Is Zoom subscription included in this solution? See, as I've told, that ranges from 250 rupees to 500 rupees. So we do not include Zoom subscription. You can subscribe it on your own, but the total cost of BLACKbox One Cloud plus Zoom plus McAfee plus maybe this Microsoft O365 Home would not go beyond 500 rupees per user per month. Yeah, Mr. Pandare is asking, where is BLACKbox One Cloud hosted? Basically, BLACKbox One Cloud is hosted in India on our data centers. Cloud space to be separately bought, or it will come with BLACKbox. BLACKbox One Cloud and BLACKbox are different products. BLACKbox is a on-premise solution. In case you want to have backup of BLACKbox on cloud, you have to buy cloud space extra. But when you are buying BLACKbox One Cloud subscription, which is not on-premise, that cloud space is inbuilt. Is it user-based licensing or do I have to buy the storage? It is a user-based licenses. It is an enterprise-based licenses. So for 12 user enterprise, there is a license. For 20 user enterprise, there is a license. And then per user, there are no limitations. Users can share all the space. Will it be possible to share the video of the presentation? Yes, you will get the link. Prasanna, can you please note down?
Yes, sir.
Is there a minimum number of users required for one cloud? Yes, it is 12 users. One cloud requires 12 users, minimum 12 users. And I think for that 12 users, 4 terabyte of cloud storage is available. No, does BLACKbox is associated with OEM McAfee EPS only? No, no, no. We do not bundle McAfee. McAfee was my suggestion. You can have BLACKbox one cloud and you can have any other antivirus. It is not McAfee, but as we see, McAfee is very cost effective. It is just maybe less than 100 rupees per user per, not less than 100 rupees, less than 40 rupees. Less than 40 rupees per user per month. So we just suggested it as an alternative. You can have your antivirus of your choice. WPS Office is a Chinese software. Any other alternative to this? Yes, I have already suggested. It is Microsoft Office Home you can do, which is less than 100 rupees per user per month. Bhupendra Singh, BLACKbox one cloud solution is based on users number wise or some other parameters. One cloud is for enterprise. So you have a 12 user enterprise, 20 user enterprise. Accordingly, you can buy BLACKbox one cloud. So it is an enterprise wide solution. So let's say you have 20 users or let's say 25 users. You can buy 20 user BLACKbox one cloud and pay pro rata basis for rest of the 3 users. Is 96 terabyte the no, it is not. It is just for the explanation purpose. I think right now we have the largest one is 256 terabyte. Tell me something more about DNS splitter inbox. I think I've explained. So I will again explain in next 2 minutes. So let's say you have 50 accounts and you want 4 or 5 accounts to be using Google or Microsoft, and rest of the accounts you want to use some other service, then you can have 4 or 5 accounts only, add one more account, make it a journal or catch-all or whatever they say account. Let all other users' mails be stored in that particular account. Attach DNS splitter technology with it. That will download all that emails from that single mailbox in which multiple users mails are there. It will then parse the headers and then place them in different mailbox on the DNS splitter cloud. And then those users, instead of connecting to Microsoft or Google Cloud for downloading the emails, they'll be connecting to DNS splitter cloud to download their emails, so that you are paying less for number of users and you are saving a lot of cost. How much space is required for 250 users? I think for 250 users, it can be, I think 48 terabyte could be sufficient. I think for our 250 users, we are giving around 48 or 64 terabyte in one cloud. On cloud, I'm not remember.
It's 48.
48 terabytes. Okay, it is 48 terabyte. And you can of course extend it in case you want it. Cloud is all about that flexibility. What is the minimum sign up period for BLACKbox one cloud? It is 1 year. Is there any possibility to increase the size of the hard disk as expansion of the same box? Basically, it depends. If you have taken on-premise solution, of course, you are stuck with the capacity. If it is cloud, yes, you can increase the cloud space whenever you want. It is on the cloud if it is. So I think very interactive. I think I have answered 21 questions. So I would request if any of you has 1 or 2 more questions, I will take up them. Prasanna, we can conclude if there are no more questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for such an insightful and beneficial session. I request everyone to fill the survey form, which you will get at the end of the session to give us your valuable feedback. Sudhir, sir, can you please give us your concluding remarks for the session?
Yes, thank you, Vishalji, for giving detailed explanation of all the cloud services that people are exploring and using along with the cost benefit that one is getting on each of the services as compared to the BLACKbox One Cloud. And I express my gratitude to all the participants on behalf of Cinesoft to spending time with us. For any queries, you can get connected to our local connects at all the locations across India, nearby locations like Bhutan, Bangladesh, US. And any further queries, if you have, you can get it through the email also. We will be happy to assist you. You can drop an email to Prasanna and we will get connected to everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thanks once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.